Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Al-Azouzi from easymedicaldevice.com. And today we will help you to understand more about the common specification. We have talked a lot about common specification with the EU MDR. This is something that can appear, that can arrive on your plate, and you have to understand what it is and how we should welcome those specifications. And for that, I have with me Stefan Bolleininger from Beyond Quality, who will help us to understand that. So Stefan, welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast.
Hello, Munir. Nice seeing you again.
Thank you. So thank you for coming. Thank you for helping. So Stefan, you were on the podcast a lot of time. So we are talking a lot of time about MDR, implementation, application, how to do this and that. So now we'll try to tackle a new element, which is common specification. So let's maybe start then about understanding first for people that maybe heard about it, but have no clue what it is. So what are common specifications? What is this beast?
Yeah. Okay. Think about it that your regulation is not finished. Okay. So, I have some ideas which I want to bring into legal enforcement, but I don't have the time right now and I need to push out the documents. You do it with your SOP, you do it as an annex. You always do that. And then, okay, next update, I will do that. So common specification is also something like that. I have a bunch of standards. I have my regulation. But then, I have some spots in it which are not yet filled. These spots need to be filled with something, and then to tell, okay, I will prepare something new, something not a standard, not a regulation, not a directive. I build a common specification. That's a cool concept because you can change, on purpose, you can change. It's like changing the wheels on the bus during the driving through hills. So that's a common specification. It has its own enforcement, it has a strong enforcement. It's not like a standard which tells you, if I follow the standard, I will follow it later on, make a little gap analysis. And then, it is sometimes I will use it. What happens, for example, electrical safety. In the past, I know of many of products which did not fulfill the current situation on the electrical safety and EMC standards, because we always find a few gaps and a few holes to dig in and tell, not my business right now. Now, common specification is different. Common specification is, it's part of the law. And part of the law has enforcement and an enforcement date, and this date is fixed. You cannot avoid it and not jump over it. Not legally, but you could jump, but does not make. So you have something special, and we already have one. And this is a funny thing. You always have your common specifications in mind. They are coming some, but you don't know what will come next.
Okay.
Because it's not only part of the MDCG, it's not only part of Brussels, it's more in a hidden value in a hidden area, and then it appears, and then you have a problem.
Okay.
That's what common specification is and why we use it.
So can we compare it with, as you mentioned, it's legislations. Can we compare that with some standards that people have to follow, like ISO 13485, or as you mentioned, 6601 maybe for electrical equipment? So will there be, what are the content of it? So is it like you have to do this, you have to do that, here is the methodology, or it's more like, as you mentioned, maybe the legislation like MDR to say, here is vaguely, if I can say, or what should be done without really providing any precision?
It's half and half, and that's a funny thing. For example, if you're an Annex 16 device, a device without medical purpose, then the common specification is the law.
Okay.
In case you have a product and you have sufficient standards and all of that, and then you can tell them, you have a common specification in addition. So in this case, it's not that much the law as for the Annex 16 devices. It's a bit schizophrenic, but we need to live with it. And always, my perspective, always takes a common specification as the law, except you have a very good opinion why you do not need to do that. Okay.
So as you have also said, so there is no agenda actually for common specification to be published. So
not really, no.
It can happen from one day to another. So we had, did we had any common specification already published now for EU MDR?
so Annex 16.1 that was leaked through a few commissions and organizations. It was leaked to us as a draft. Okay. But now, so we have one which is already available. That's
Okay.
yes, this is one. It's a very funny thing is for reprocessing of single-use devices. In some countries, you're allowed to reprocess single-use devices. In some countries, you are not. So the commission decided, we need to enforce this law a bit more for those who it is available, for those which where it is possible. For those member states, they will have their governing law or something equivalent, and they need to carry on how they make sure that it will be reprocessed in a good way. For the others, they don't care, but we need to give them something by hand. So in this case, yeah. But it's a funny thing. It is not when you wait for something which is called Common Specification, then you wait long. You need to look into more of it. For example, this funny thing has a nice name. The Commission Implementing Regulation EU 2020/1207. So there's no common specification in the name. You need some very weird people who dig through all of the commission implementing regulations day by day and look for if there's something available for you. So first thing, when you think something smells fishy, look into it and tell them, okay, if there's 2017/745 or 746 for EU MDR or EU IVDR in it, then you should keep your eyes up. It looks weird if it's from you for relevance. In case both tags are not included, then you can push it aside. Maybe it's for toys, maybe it's for cars, whatever. A common specification is a general concept which can be used for many other regulations.
So mainly we had the one that you are mentioning, so the reuse of single-use devices. This is something that was mentioned on the EU MDR. So there was an article, I can't remember the article number, but there was an article specifically mentioning of the possibility to reuse of single-use devices. And they added up to this, I mean, we call it common specification, but as you mentioned, it's not mentioned specifically on the document that is a common specification, which is the number 2020/1207, if you want to go and look at it. So they added to this one, so to give more clarity. So it looks like, when I read it, it looks like also like a guidance also. It's like, here is how you should implement this article of the MDR.
Exactly. Yeah, some mentioned article you need is the article number 17. Which talks about it. So, and yeah, it speaks like a bit like a guidance. It speaks like nice informational, but there's one sentence. It's nearly at the end. The last sentence is always, for the commission, the president, then above is done at Brussels. And then there comes above this line, there comes one very, very important thing. And this calls this regulation shall be binding in its entirety and direct applicable in all member states.
Okay.
Guidance, non-binding. Regulation, binding. That's a difference, and this is a very important difference. And when we are already on that spot, so we go one line above and says it shall be applied from 26th of May 2021. So we know application date.
So this is what is mentioned on the document. So it means that as it's published now, it should not be applied. I mean, it cannot. It can, but it's not need to be applied now. But it says specifically by the 26th of May 2021, you have to apply that. I mean, it's something that countries, competent authorities can use. It's not like it's mandatory to use it. If you want to have single-use reprocess of single-use devices, then you can do that, and here are the elements to do it. If you don't want, then you can say, no, I don't want to do that. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's in this case, yes. In this case, it is binding, but so we have the conflict with the EU MDR, which tells us, yes, it is binding, but only in case there are not sufficient standards. Currently, in that particular case, there are not sufficient standards, so it will be binding. And I'm very sure that the European Court will tell us it is binding in case of the first lawsuit. We'll see. But from my perspective, I would take it right now to be binding.
Okay, so it means that every hospital in the European Union can reuse single-use devices if they have the right studies, if they have the right elements to prove that they can do that, even if the manufacturer is saying that this is a single-use device. Is it really the right interpretation of this?
That is correct.
Okay.
But there's always a catch.
Yeah.
That catch in this case is, yeah, you can use it for, or the hospital can take it as reprocessing, but then they are economic actor.
Exactly.
And that's a catch. In normal cases, yeah, okay, let's do a bit of reprocessing, no problem. Let's take single-use devices and sterilize them, disinfect them, no problem. But we always need to consider that a device has an essential performance which it shall fulfill. And this one cannot be fulfilled because the manufacturer tells us that's single use, you don't use it anymore. The other one tells, yeah, with our cleaning and disinfections, we can use it as a multiple, not single-use device. And then the manufacturer tells me, I'm fine with it. It's not my device anymore because you have reprocessed it. It's all your fault.
Exactly.
And that is the thing. So this institute or this interaction, this hospital, this clinic needs to be then an economic operator and an actor in case of the MDR system. That means single registration number. That means UDAMED. That means all information relevant because, and it's a funny thing, that means technical documentation.
Yeah. So I think it's a really interesting point that, hospital can do that, but they have to see all what is in the background and has to be done. So they will maybe hire some consultants or hire some full-time employees just to do all these things. So it's something that that can be really interesting. There is
the good thing. That's a good thing. Yes, that the Common Specification is written in a way that it can be reused and taken over by the hospital. So in case, for example, this one's a single use, yeah, I need a technical documentation. Okay, then you have an abstract, and it's Article 9, which tells you this is what you need to do the technical documentation. Pretty cool, good from my perspective. I'm not a disinfection specialist, but from my perspective, it is very well written to be understandable for the ones in hospitals, clinics, and all who will do reprocessing. From my perspective, it's good.
No, I think it's good. So if you have any question related to that, so don't hesitate to put that on the comments for this video, for the podcast. Go to the legislation 2020/1207 for this common specification. I will put anyway all those links on the show notes if you want to look at them. We talked just before about Annex 16. So I just wanted to come back to Annex 16 products because it's clearly mentioned on the regulation that all the products that are with non-medical purpose that are listed in Annex 16 should comply with the EU MDR, but only when the common specifications will be issued. So can you help us to understand more? We have made, if I can say, a video about that also before. So if you want to look at a specific video we have made with Stefan and with Eric Volbrecht on Annex 16 products, but here, can we mention again what does it mean exactly concretely for those companies that have a products listed on Annex 16?
Yeah, actually, I think that's a very nice approach and a very burdenless approach from the European Commission, who tell you first, okay, you all guys, all these Annex 16 products, MDR is coming, and we tell you when it is coming. It's 26th of May 2021. Now, so they all know the date when MDR will be coming for them. And then they tell you, but we know that you have special content, special information, special content, and because you do not have to fulfill a direct standard with your devices, as we can understand, and we have discussed that with many competent authorities in the past times, we can get rid of most of the product standards. Only a few of them will be applicable, but most of them we can really get rid of. So they have a real hole for standards. And so they say, okay, European Commission was so nice to them and tell them, good, we need to do a common specification for you. That's for sure. And until this one is not applicable or not completely in force, you do not have to comply with EU MDR. And then, in addition, when this common specification will be applicable, you get 6 additional months to comply. And that's fine. Actually, it is very nice because it gives you a target and tells you, okay, I have my products. I can do now whatever it's possible to fulfill EU MDR, but I know there's something open. And this something can be until once it is really published. I have 6 months to proceed. Actually, for those guys who have go through the current draft of the Annex 16 Common Specification, you see it's it's labeling, it's claims, it's a risk analysis, it's IFU. It's nothing big. It's no really big deal what you need to do. But always please do not forget, because you cannot do a clinical evaluation because you don't have a clinical you don't have a real clinical use. Don't forget to do a performance evaluation. That's something which some people forget because they look into it. It's okay, clinically are not needed. We are not a medical device, so they stroke it out from the list. But performance evaluation is always possible. So and that's something which is
performance evaluation is mainly the fact that you are claiming some performance for your device. So then you have to prove that those performances are correct. It's mainly also something that we are doing for non-medical device products. So it's every product, as soon as you claim a certain performance, you have to back it up with some data to prove that what you are saying on your box or IFU or whatever is correct. And this is mainly something that that you have to do. So safety and performance, no clinical performance at all, but some performance of what the device is doing.
Yes. If you claiming your car goes 200 miles per hour, then you need to make a report in the testing that it goes 200 miles per hour. You might differ if it goes to the tank weight and fuel consumption, then it might differ. But in that case, don't do it. For a pseudo medical device, please do not watch out for any open things. Make it concrete, make it detailed, make it right. And that's for the Annex 16 devices. You have safety, as you said, Munir, as you say, it's a safety you have to fulfill, and it's performance, which can be done by technical, by bench, or all of that. It's no real clinical use case on it, so no clinical evaluation.
Okay.
But it's important to do that, and this is not in the common specification right now.
Yeah, and do we have, we saw that a lot of time on the agenda of the MDCG meetings about the Annex 16 guidance or we suppose common specification. So do we have some news now on what will be the content of this common specification and when it will be really published for the Annex 16 products?
When it will be really published, good question.
Okay.
I hope it will not be before March, because after March, then we have additional 3 months with the MDR date. But I think since we now know about the first one with reusable sterile products, I think it will be quite fast to get it.
So and you bet that it will be done before the date of application or after?
Yes, before.
Before, okay. So then
I would bet until it might be a good Christmas present.
Okay.
I would hope for Easter, but I bet for Christmas.
It's true that on the rolling plan, I think if I remember well, it was mentioned Q4 2020. So maybe yes. So let's see if it's coming for a Christmas present, as you mentioned, and then you'll have the 6-month period. So to really place, be compliant to it. In terms of common specification, so do we have? I remember we talked also about a draft, a proposal for this common specification on Annex 16. So is it still in draft, or is there a new version, or it's something that is completely hidden?
It is officially it is hidden.
Okay.
Available is a draft. There is some rumors about the updated draft. So yes, there is an updated draft. However, content-wise, it did not change much before from the beginning draft. It will now only get more clear and more precise and nothing. There's no new roadshow in it.
Okay. So no new surprises for now for those companies.
No surprise.
Okay. So do you have also some news about maybe some other common specification that will be published or that are planned, or maybe some subjects of common specification that are planned?
Unfortunately, I only have 2 rumors about infusion
Okay.
systems,
Okay.
and I have one about some dialysis devices.
Okay.
But that is only a rumor, nothing concrete.
Okay.
Nothing detailed, which I would say this is it.
So as you mentioned, infusion pumps and dialysis. So will it be, I mean, it's not something that we saw on the MDR, like there will be some publication or common specification for this type of products. So will there be some standards, if I can say, methodology used inside to tell you how you should qualify or perform for your device? Or what will be,
Yes.
I can say, a kind of an idea of the content of this type of common specification?
From what I have heard, it is only dealing about the safety of that kind of devices and the specific use. It's not about anything for new technologies or whatever, or combining devices. It's only about how they should prepare to be a safe usage.
Okay. So it means also that we will have to follow some ISO standards that are existing, plus those common specifications at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. No, I think it's
so. It can't be such a big deal because the current standards are not bad.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. And as we said, so more guidance there is, more it can help you and help also the notified body to go in the right direction, instead of trying to interpret something that nobody really understood. So I think it's good to have as much document as possible for that. Okay. So
exactly.
Is there anything else you want to say about common specification? Because I think we have really talked about all the topics that we were planning to talk about.
That's correct. There's one thing which I think about common specification. Most people think that's something burdensome, something hard, something which tears their business apart. Look at it carefully. Make sure it's just for opening up the last spots, and make sure you have something to fill in. It's not about destroying all business models. It's just about filling the last spots, which the EU Commission think are very important, and the standardization committees are not fast enough. And as we are currently seeing with the harmonization of standards, they won't be fast enough to do anything. So it's a good approach. Take that approach and always look at them carefully. Use those articles from it you can really use and think they are important for you. And always look about it with 2 words, shall and should. They have always a shall in it and some shoulds. The shoulds are, might be. The shall are mandatory requirements. Use them carefully.
Yeah, I think we are used to that when we are reading the ISO 13485. Yeah. It's exactly the same principle. If you see a shall, you have to go through it, and it's really and it's what I was doing. I was doing a search on the document just on all the shall, and each time I find a shall, like okay, read that. What is exactly the requirements? But it's the same methodology that you have to go through that. Yeah, so where people can follow up with you if they have any comments, any question, any elements.
Fastest solution is follow easy. Call me, write me a mail, or follow me on LinkedIn at beonquality.com, or on our Be On Quality LinkedIn page, or my private LinkedIn. That's best thing, or easiest thing is, if you want to really get up to date with all of the topics, follow easymedicaldevice.com.
Thank you for that. So I will put anyway all the links on the show notes. So if you want to go directly and call Stefan Bolleininger, I will put the link for Be On Quality. So you will have all the details. So if you have any projects on that, or a question about common specification, you can go to Stefan directly. Okay, Stefan, so thank you for that. So for the people that are listening to the podcast, so please just go to your podcast provider, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, and just put a small message to say that you like this podcast. It helps me a lot. It's not helping to rank, it's just helping for people that are choosing to listen to some podcast to know that there is really some good content there. So if they see other people saying that, there is some good content, so it's helping also to spread the word and then to have more audience in that. So if you can help me just by sending some message, or also by going to the YouTube channel, putting some likes, some comments also, which helps also to spread the word. So thank you, really thank you for that. Okay, Stefan, so thank you for your help and thank you for all the information you provided, and I wish you a really nice day.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.